I'm joined today by a very special guest. He is skateboarding great, Mr. Chris Cobra Cole. Sir, how are you?
I'm great. And yourself?
I'm doing just fine now. You've won literally almost every major competition known to man. What have you got planned for 2014?
I'm just going to keep skating. I have a video part coming out in early March on DC Shoes website, and I got a bunch of trips planned, and just try to stay on top of it all, and do all my duties as far as a pro skateboarder goes, contests and demos, and just try to be out there as much as humanly possible.
Now I understand you're going to China for a special shoot.
I am. This video part that's coming out is just I have a bunch of footage that I've been filming for a while, and I wanted to do something cool with it, and I have a shoe coming out on March 3rd, so I figured what better way to kick off the shoe release than to kick it off with a video part. So I'm going to go to China, and I'm going to film kind of like the last couple things for my part.
Very cool, very cool. Now, we had a lot of fans submit quite a few fan questions. I asked them, I said, hey, we're going to have Chris Cole on as a guest. And, I mean, seriously, we've had the most fan questions we've ever had. So,
oh, wow.
I guess I'll start by firing up a number of them to you. Now, you've accomplished almost everything in skating. I mean, what's left for you on the docket besides, obviously, making that money and continuing to do your thing?
Man, that's a really good question. I thoroughly enjoy skating, and I love to skate. It's been the only thing that I wanted to do with my life as far as like a job. I never wanted to do anything other than be a skateboarder, and it never got old. Like, skateboarding never gets old. I still want to do it every single day. I still have that love for skating and progressing my own skating to be the best that I can be. So it's natural that I want to repeat everything that I've done and just keep doing it like Groundhog Day. But I also just want to do more things with the fact that I'm known in the skate community, and that's such an awesome fame, and I want to just do more things that kind of go on the bucket list. Like, I want to give out awards at award shows, and I want to I want to do these things. I want to host a TV show or something like that, and do voiceovers for cartoons, things like that.
Very cool. Very cool. Now, you made an undeniable impact in skateboarding. There's a lot of guys have made great careers, great money in skateboarding. Would you say right now the current state of skateboarding is stronger than ever?
Absolutely, and here's why. Which is funny because if you're talking to a person at like a skate shop or somewhere that's economy based, it seems like they're struggling, because of our economy at the current moment. But it's crazy because people don't have money to throw around like they did in 2000. 2000, 2001, skate magazines had like a spine on them. They were like a book, and there was money going around. Now there's more skateboarders than have ever skated at any one time, but nobody has money to just go around and just buy stuff. So it's a tricky but powerful time. And as skateboarders, we can do more than just put out products and try to make money and market. We can do things like what Jim Thiebaud of Real Skateboards does a lot, and he does a lot of charity, and he does things that he thinks can change, that will change the world, and he believes skateboarders can change the world, and I believe that too.
Very cool, very cool. Now, as you mentioned, not a lot of people have money to buy things, but would you say when you do break in, when you do go pro, is it more lucrative than ever for skateboarders once they get up to a certain point as far as the sponsorships go?
Not right now. There's like the top 5% or less that make a really good living, and everybody else is kind of struggling, because there is that our economic times are rough, And so companies are like, well, we're not going to throw money around like, we used to when it was just coming in, whether we did the right thing or not, there was just money flying in. Now they're way more selective, and there's way more skateboarders, and there's way more good kids, and they're like, well, what do we do? They have a tough decision to make of whether they get a whole bunch of people for a very, very, very little amount, and they're not really a high tier of skater, or do they get, somebody who really moves the needle for a good investment? And, each company has their own opinion on whether that works or not.
Now, Merrick right here actually has a really good question. He says, hey, Chris, what do you think about people hating on Street League and that it's quote-unquote destroying real skateboarding? I really don't like this pigeonholing of Street League.
There will always be people that have something negative to say about anything new. People will stay in the Stone Age, and they'll be like, skateboarding should be the old guard. It should be this punk rock thing that like nobody does, and I disagree wholeheartedly. As much as I started skateboarding because I thought it looked cool and it was rebellious, and the whole scene of it was just so cool to me as a kid, it enriched my life so much, and I love it so much. And I want to share the gift that it gave me, and I want to be out there. And I think that with so many skateboarders, like when I watched TV, there was a Nickelodeon program called Skate TV, and it was the only way I could see skateboarding on TV. And I'd watch it, and I loved it to see skateboarding on TV. And for us to bring skateboarding to millions of homes on TV, but actually do it without some like goofy actor that's pretending to be a skateboarder, but these are the real dudes at the top level doing the hardest things that they've ever done in a contest right there for you. It's a pretty magnificent contest. And by no means does it kill skateboarding. It actually enriches all of skateboarding, because the more money that gets put into skateboarding, the more skateboarding benefits, because we decide what happens with the money once it comes into skateboarding. And with this is more skate parks popping up. Street League puts in skate parks, in cities, like Street League certified skate parks. And they come up in cities, and these kids have a place to skate. So how is that killing street skateboarding?
Exactly. Kids aren't being kicked out of skating on the street because they'll have somewhere to actually skate. Absolutely.
And like, you're going to get kicked out of street spots whether there's a skate park or not. I mean, millions of kids have seen that in small towns where they don't have a park, and skateboarding is 100% illegal in that town. They can't skate out front of their house. They can't do anything. And there's no park to go to. And parents used to like write to me being like, can you help us get a skate park? Like, what do we do? What did you do? Like when there wasn't a park, like, and I feel for them, because what can you do? Like as a parent, imagine your day is completely filled and the nearest skate park is 2.5 hours away.
And sports. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Sports Kingdom TV points out that you've had the opportunity, like a lot of skaters nowadays, to star in a number of video games. And he wants to know, how much did you enjoy starring in the video game Skate?
You know what? That was an incredible video game, and I loved it. And the reason why it was so awesome was because everybody that worked on the game was a skateboarder from Vancouver. And they just happened to be game programmers, and they worked at EA Sports, but they were all skateboarders. So when they did the game Skate, they brought this group of skaters that worked in the video game world and put them into their own department to do this game. And that's why the game was so fantastic. They're real skateboarders, not like a dude that used to skate, but like real skaters. And so it was awesome. And for the first game, I had to do the motion capture and put like the little silver taped balls all over my like black like cat suit basically, and skate around, and it was a trip. It was definitely one of those things that you check off the bucket list, like, oh, did that, check.
That's awesome. And Gunnar here asks, as an aspiring pro skater, what are some rookie mistakes to avoid?
Man, I mean, as an aspiring pro skater, the worst mistake you can make is to be a bad person. And that's in all life. But you're going to need to be put in a van with people. And I'm not saying that every skateboarder is a good dude, because there are a couple bad dudes for sure. But nobody wants to travel with that dude. And many, many, many great skateboarders are out there. And if you end up being a bad dude or lame, or you're like a prima donna and you want all this stuff and you think you're the man, there's always someone better. And nobody actually needs to deal with you. So if you get in a van and you think that you're the star and that you're gonna act like you're the star, you should probably get cut down a couple notches. You know, maybe get your heart broken by a girl, or something to just cut you down to size.
Wise words from a wise man. Now I understand you're a very big fan of one of the golden eras of pro wrestling, the 1980s.
Yeah, the best time.
Who was your guy back in the day?
Oh, well, dude, you're gonna limit me to one dude?
I guess, okay, who are your favorites? Plural.
I mean, Ultimate Warrior was my dude. Like as far as every time he'd come out, it would hit you below the belt, because you didn't see him nearly enough. And every time he brought the heat. He was so sick. But that era of pro wrestler was my favorite. They had such a sick story, and it was like so theatrical, and it wasn't like throwing like a couple wristbands on, and like you have like kind of like a so story. It was even like you could have the dorkiest story, but you had a proper story. Like Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Dude would knock you down, and then he'd cut your hair while you were knocked out. That's the dumbest thing ever, but it's amazing. And then what was the one dude's name that patted himself on the back every time? He was like a fall guy, and he had a hand on his back.
I know you're talking about. His name slips me. But another example, you're talking about when a guy gets knocked out and then his hair gets cut, or like Jake Roberts, he'd put like the snake on the guy after he gets taken
Absolutely.
out.
Jake the Snake. He'd just go over, grab his black bag with a snake in it, and just lay it on the dude. And the dude would just have to lay there with a snake on him. You know what I mean? But like my dudes were Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan. Those two were, they were the dudes for certain. But I definitely liked Rowdy Roddy Piper and Bret the Hitman Hart. Dude, I you know what? I even indulged in like the Road Warriors and Legion of Doom when they came out.
Those guys were definitely awesome. And since I do see on your Facebook at times you do make some old school pro wrestling references, I don't know if you know this real quick before we let you go. The WWE Network, I don't know if you heard about it. It's coming out February 24th. It's an all streaming network that's 24/7, all wrestling, and you can access pretty much every WWE pay-per-view ever made, ever filmed. For a lapsed fan like you, would that be something you're interested in? $10 a month.
$10. Yikes. That sounds pretty awesome though, dude. Like old school Summer Slams. Like it's pretty right.
Those definitely were pretty dope. Especially, you can see your boy Ultimate Warrior destroy guys like the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh my God, dude. The Bushwhackers were incredible too, man. We were joking around about how terrible waiters those dudes would have been.
they would have been. Although, you're definitely doing your thing. You're riding in style. You got the swag of Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen, or the Four Statesmen. So.
I definitely work on that. You know who turned me on to that is Randy from Lamb of God. He got obsessed with Ric Flair for one tour, and he started writing all these posts on his Instagram that were just Ric Flair inspired posts that were absolutely incredible. And I was like, dude, I started watching old Ric Flair, like best of Ric Flair quotes. And, you know, he like launches a Gucci slipper out into the audience. And it's amazing.
All right. Well, hopefully, when you win your next competition, you'll do a Ric Flair strut for us.
Oh, I should, man. Just slap somebody across the chest real quick. Then woo!
Woo! Absolutely. Well, Chris, before we let you go, man, where can fans find you online? Because obviously, as we mentioned earlier, you got a lot going on.
I mean, you can find me at chriscobracole.com and on any of my sponsors' websites, DC, Monster, all of them, Stance. So.
Excellent. Easy enough. Chris, thank you so much for the time, man. We'd love to have you back on.
Oh, well, thank you very much.